So, without further ado, let's bring the three guests, panelists on stage.
Hello. I'm Kimasabi, or River, either way works. I am a member of the Core Working Group, which was the, inaugural working group for Jupiter. Our job is basically to herd all of the cats, the many, many hundreds of thousands of cats. And my primary duty is making stuff. I make whatever stuff needs to be made, whether that's these things, or signage, or a website, or any of the other things that might be needed. And I'll pass it off to Sax.
I think Kimo is kind of underselling himself a bit here. I mean, the Core Working Group does way more than that, right? They take charge of the whole core DAO processes, right? When LFG first came out, they did all the work in terms of preparing for the LFG launches. And nowadays, whenever we have votes, they are the one that's in the thick and thin of it all, right? And the whole grants process that the DAO has, which we'll ask more about him later on, they do a lot of that as well, right? Yeah, it's a lot of work. Like, it goes from crisis comms whenever there's a vote, which there's always a crisis when there's a vote, and then just sort of being boots on the ground whenever that occurs. And then we also take charge of the token list. Morton's somewhere here in the audience, and he spends about 5 hours a day combing through the 80,000 tokens that are launched every single day. And then obviously there's Slorg the Slug, who is he's right here in my pocket. He's not coming out, though. He doesn't want to get doxxed. And then this is Sax.
Yep, I'm Sax. I'm from Jup and Juice. And Jup and Juice is a podcast. It's also a working group, obviously. We are from the grassroots of Jupiter DAO, from the Jupiverse. And there's not just me and Wake who do this. There's also Irish and Satchel. It's always Sax and Wake that get praised. So I just want to give some praise to Irish and Satchel for doing the hard work that they do. Pick up the voice. So what we do, we squeeze juice out of our guests, and that can be community members, that can be ecosystem guests. We've had some cool people on, and massive privilege to be speaking to these people and put people from the Jupiverse next to them, and shine a light on the cool people that we have in our community, and give them a platform next to people like Luca Nets and Jakey Soul and Soul Jakey and Easy Eats Bodega and all these cool people. But the cool people are people like Scarlett and Satchel, Irish, and all the COCs and Catdets. So we like to balance those scales and get the news out there. And obviously Jupiter is super fast, and we always get told that if someone leaves the DAO for 1 week, when they come back, it's like things have moved so fast, they don't know what's going on. So if they lock into Jup and Juice, they usually catch up quite quickly. And so, we keep the DAO vibrant, and we keep the news consistent, and we're here just to be a cornerstone and a voice within the DAO. And there's more to that, but yeah, I'll pass it over to Will to talk about Uplink.
Yeah,
Let's go, Will.
I'm Will. Will McFletcher. I'm from the Uplink Work Group. Uplink Work Group is basically the content mafia of Jupiter. So if you already saw some funny posts, that was probably us doing it. We are focusing on giving out bounties and grants to creators that we find inside the Jupiverse already, trying to build them up, trying to have them create more content, trying to grow the pie. And if they grind hard, probably they will get passed on to the DAO. Yeah, so we're basically just like the talent scouts. Yeah, we built them up. So we take care of everything that is content related, if it's animation videos, if it's funny memes, educational content. Yeah, updating the Jupiverse also. I mean, like, most of the people here probably know the Uplink Twitter, so yeah. I don't know what to say.
I mean, any one of you here who has not been following the Uplink Working Group right now yet, you guys absolutely need to do it, man. Because I mean, they have the most entertaining content, right? Like the most engaging content that I've seen across many pages on
Thank you, bro.
Twitter, right? And I think like Will is kind of like the main intern behind it.
Yeah.
Is that right?
I mean, for Twitter, I am. We also have Clouds. Clouds, you're here? You want to dox?
Clouds is somewhere here.
hiding
No,
somewhere.
he's
Where's Clouds?
Yeah, yeah.
there. He is.
If he didn't get kicked out because of the draft.
Yeah, so it's me and Clouds on the Twitter. Like, yeah. Yeah, we grind hard. I don't know, like we grow that Twitter account in the last 2 months, I think, from roughly 4,000 followers to 35,000 followers.
Wait, what? 4,000 too?
We actually have some weeks we have more engagement than the main Jupiter account. So
Wow.
yeah, just want to put cash on the spot here a little bit. Yeah, let's go.
Where do we want to start?
Where do you want to start?
I think biggest question is like, what is a work group? Because who knows what a work group is? Cash did this already, but I want to do it again. Okay, so like
50.
7 people?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So a work group is kind of like this approach to scaling, I guess, a community in not so much a vertical fashion. So you have like a company, you scale that vertically, right? You hire more people, there's like this, big head honcho up at the top, and he's like, you got to do this, and you got to do this. And work groups are like kind of lateral scaling. So you've got like a work group here, work group here. You could have like a film work group. You could have Uplink or Core or the Jup and Juice or the Catdets. But it's like there is a niche skill set that is basically you do an autonomous sort of cube of people. It's great if it's more than one person because it's not really a group if it's one person. And then you kind of find the problems that exist within the Jupiverse, and there are plenty. And then you just sort of solve those. And you can start today as a work group. It might take a little bit before you get like paid and stuff, but that's the idea. Is like do shit, and then you'll be supported by grants first, and then after you've gotten a grant or two, and you found a crew, then it's do shit and we'll support you. That was kind of a bar. After grants, you get trials, and there's trial work groups, which is what this guy is, and kind of this guy is, but he's been around for a long time too. And so after grants, you and then enter into a trial work group, and that requires a big DAO vote, and you'll get basically 3 months of budget to do whatever you want, and if the DAO approves it, you can go and do whatever you want with your crew. And then after that, if that goes well, and it doesn't always necessarily go well, you will then apply to become a formalized full work group. And as you saw before, we only have 2, and hopefully by the end of the year we have many more. And that means I did my job well. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's quite a cool concept because obviously what attracted me and people like Wake and obviously Irish and Satchel is like, this is very different to like a linear thing, like what you're saying, like a business or your normal job, right? It's kind of set to, you've got your set wage, and whatever work you put in at the end of the month, that's what you're gonna get out. It's linear, it's set. No matter how hard you work, no matter what you do, it's set.
Yeah.
But with this, it's completely different, right? You bring a value, you solve a problem, you propose how much you think you deserve for that, and then everyone comes together unified to make a vote and pass that or not, right? Because if there's the value there, people are going to agree and say, yeah, actually, this person can do this. Let's give them a chance. Let's give them the funding. We have it. Let's do it. And then that hard work can obviously take them even further. Like for example, like with myself, right? I never knew that I'd be doing Jup and Juice till it happened. It just happened, right? We saw something and it happened. But now, like when I was working on the railway, there was no way someone like Meow, for example, I would ever sit down with someone and have a conversation with Cash, for example, right? And now that's unlocked, that hard work has unlocked conversations with people like Luca Nets. So it's like the Jupiverse has given me way more than just the financial linear thing that you get for working. The working group has unlocked so much more than just the financial gain, right? Now, someone might like my post, and it's someone with, 1 million followers or something, and it's like, not just me, because I put someone on Jup and Juice, or the working group puts someone on Jup and Juice as a guest, and the same thing happens for them, right? They get seen by all these people, and it unlocks way more than just this linear thing where you just get what you get when you're working. So working groups for me is very attractive, and it's, for me, it's like the future of how things should be done, if that makes sense. What do you think, Will?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think like a working group is like super different than like a normal job. A normal job, you have like set hours that you work, you have weekends or some days off. A working group is more like we're focusing to find like the hardest grinders in the Jupiverse that actually work 24/7 every day, no days off, no weekends, and just trying to support the people that actually want to do something and give them a chance. Yeah, so it's not like I have a job and tomorrow I'm sick or I don't want to do this or I don't want to do that. Like everybody in our team is like always grinding. Like there's like non-stop and everybody has to work by themselves. There's nobody going to go to you and say, can you please do this or that? If that happens, you do it, but you have to work autonomously. So I think that's like a big difference here. And one thing I want to say, I told you yesterday.
Yeah.
Like without your working group, I would not be here, right?
Yeah.
Like you guys put me on the podcast. The same day, OG sent me a message. Yeah. I mean, I already had, like everybody probably, some bounties, some grants. Yeah. I got a few bounties already, so the boys knew me. That's why you got, like, I was in the circle. Yeah.
Yeah.
But without that podcast, I would not be sitting here. That account would not do like soup, you know?
Yeah, so it's like a proliferated success because you came on Jup and Juice, you got noticed on Jup and Juice, you had already done stuff, but it really put you in the limelight. And then you got, now you've made Uplink go from 4K to 35K and millions of impressions. And so you just see the positivity spread from work group to work group. And that's beautiful, that's beautiful. Thank you for mentioning that. That's,
Shout out to you, bro.
Thank you, bro.
Yeah, I would say that like the work group model is more or less like working a job, less like there are some things similar to being in a startup, but the thing it's most like is playing MMORPG, but instead of a game, it's your real life. Yeah. So there are like quest givers and like an information board, and you go to these guys and you chat to this, and it's much more like playing a video game than it is like working a job. And so essentially what you have to do is you get in there, you're like level 1 or whatever, and you have to go and like talk to the first like tutorial people, like how do I vote and do the things. And so you talk to the tutorial people and then they tell you to go over to here and you go and fetch that thing. And it's basically a video game. It feels like playing a video game. There are quest rewards like a video game. You can fail quests like a video game and then you can still retry them. And I think that that's really important. And because, like, in a normal job, if you fail in a large way, there's not necessarily any recourse for that. Whereas here, if you continue to try, there's something else. And I think these guys are a great example of it. Like their first proposal was like they wanted, I don't know if it was the HR work group or like the voter empowerment.
Voter empowerment.
Yeah, voter empowerment.
It's kind of cringe when I think of it now.
It wasn't so bad.
It's us to hear, right? So sometimes you have to make mistakes and you have to fail to put those things aside, right? Yeah. Doing things wrong actually eventually leads to doing something right. So for us, we were coming at it from, I think, a totally wrong way, but our intentions were pure. And so eventually we just landed on something that people wanted and cared about, right? And so they already knew that we had that desire to succeed and we had that desire to do something of value for Jupiter DAO.
Yeah.
And then they brought it straight into Jup and Juice, So it was,
I think like, while what they're saying is like kind of make the whole working group experience sound a bit chaotic, right? But I think like from my personal experience as well, I mean, as like in the Catdets Working Group, it's chaotic to some extent, but it's also anchored by certain things, right? So we have, I think every working group we have our own like kind of like regular sessions of things, right? So for like Cadet Working Group, we have like weekly PPP sessions, right? We have like recently we started doing this like Cadets Wellness Initiative that's run by some of the community members, right? So we have this like kind of like regular scheduled things that kind of like anchor the I would say the day-to-day stuff that we do as well, right? And on top of that, all of us definitely have certain processes in place as well, right? In terms of like, be it like creating content, right? Thinking about problem solving and things like that. We have certain processes that kind of anchor us in terms of like this chaotic environment of like Web3 and where everything is changing all the time and there's like new trends coming out and just have to keep responding to everything that comes up and so on, right? So we kind of find ourselves, we kind of try to anchor ourselves on those like principles and like regular things that we do as well, right?
Yeah. I think like one of the most important things, like if you are like, oh, I want to work in Web3, and you don't know anything about it, it actually is a really good place to start because there are people everywhere that will help you. And it's also going to give you sort of the crash course on what it can be like. I think to sort of pile on what Cash said earlier is like you do need founder energy. You need to be able to basically pull a crew together and hold that crew together and like have a meaningful glue there. Be really resilient, really autonomous, and then able to pivot and let go of stuff. So like even if you worked on something for a month, it's like, well, that's not applicable anymore, and not be upset about that, especially since you're getting to decide, for the most part, what you do. It's like it's a pretty unique model where it's like, I want to do this thing for this thing, and somebody's going to pay me to do the thing I want to do. Obviously, within the realm of the Jupiverse, it's not like you're going to start a new protocol or something and be like, hey, babe, I want to be a Jupiter work group, and I'm going to make a, I don't know, coin flip. That won't happen. But you will be able to do something within the realm as long as it's sort of, there's a give and a take. It's got to give to the Jupiverse as it gives back to you. Yeah.
And it's accessible to anyone, right? Literally anyone can do it. Anyone can get involved. You just have to come, interact in the Jupiverse. I'd say the best way to start is literally, jup.com now, isn't it? Like jup.com. If you're interested, come into the Discord, look at jup.com, look at Jup Research, and I'll say office hours.
Office hours.
Office hours is great.
Yeah, every Monday, I don't know what it is UTC, but it's, I believe, 9
5
a.m.
p.m. UTC.
5 p.m. UTC.
Yeah.
Yeah. Every Monday, Core Work Group has office hours, and that's like the center point for everybody to sort of come and ask questions. All the work groups do a little presentation of stuff they've been working on for each week. It's like a weekly stand-up for those of you who have been in companies or startups. Yeah. Oh. Okay. Yeah, so it's essentially a weekly stand-up, and I think like that is the best place to go, especially if you don't know where to start. That's where you can ask any question and you'll get answers from everybody. I think there are a lot of budding, incredible people who, that's anybody, anywhere. You don't hire by applying, or you don't get hired by applying. There is no application. Your resume doesn't really mean anything at all. What matters is what you can do and doing it. And that's pretty much it. It's meritocracy, and I think that's the most exciting piece about it. Is like if you're able to be like, yes, I can do this laundry list of things. So it's like, okay, do it, right? Just start doing it, and we'll support you. We've got people like Duke, who in Nigeria, who is onboarding like. I think he's up in like the multi-thousands of people.
Yeah.
Like thousands of people.
It's like onboarding in lecture hall.
Like basically all of Nigeria. And then Ade Damola, who's also Nigerian, who's been sort of doing a budding design working group and should be headed to a trial very soon, who just showed up to office hours. What do I design? Who can I help? And then just being sort of really aggressive about that. Yeah. And they're basically building their job as they want to do it. And so I think that's like a really, really unique opportunity that you don't get anywhere else. When you're hired on somewhere, you're hired on to do a job. You're hired on to do a sort of like set skill set. Whereas here you get to decide, and that's pretty crazy. And it's really good for people like me who suck at having a boss.
Yeah, and I think the alpha is, if you want to do something that you want to do and you see yourself doing. And that way, that's it. Just it's not even work. It doesn't it's not work. Even though you're a working group, you feel like you're just on a mission. Yeah. You're out to achieve stuff. And you've got Jupiter behind you, and it's crazy, man. So for me, it's just do something, try to do something that you want to do. And that's it. Yeah.
And if you're not sure like what direction, like where should I go, like what should I do, who should I ask? There's always bounties that are and grants that we already like publish. What's the link? earn.superteam/Jup, something like this, yeah?
That's right, yeah.
So there's where you find all the bounties, all the grants related to Jup. And if you like don't know like how do I fit in, just go over there and check out what we need. Like we literally say it. We don't say everything because the core team is working on stuff too, of course. But this is like this is how I got in basically, yeah? I knew the people already from Twitter here and there, but I just applied for bounties. I was writing threads here and there, yeah, I was making like funny videos. And just submitted them. Why? Because that was the bounty that was open. Yeah, it is not like I went to school for doing meme videos or something like this. No, we had a bounty, and I just like shipped some stuff. And I think that's like how everybody got into the circle mostly. Like it was just something needed, and we filled that hole. It's not,
taking initiative.
Yeah.
So I mean, just jumping with a quick question here, right?
Yeah.
So I think as working groups, we're kind of like in a unique position where like we work very closely with both the community members as well as like the team,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So like, I mean, from your experiences, like how has the working dynamics with the team been like? You know, like working with Meow.
Yeah.
You know,
Meow is a cat, that's for
Yeah.
sure. I think like the biggest challenge when you're doing like a lateral sort of scaling of people and duties and things like that is like, how do you keep the communications together? Like, how do you? Is it in Slack? Is it in Discord? Is it in Telegram? Because everybody has a different like communication thing, and so I think that is the biggest challenge. Is like, how do you comms across nationalities? Like, people are used to Telegram or Discord or whatever it is, or working on it. JUP.com communications. Yeah, I think that's being the biggest challenge. But it's also like, it's very cool because the lack of like hierarchy, as it were, allows for a lot of autonomy. You just kind of do shit and get supported for doing shit, and it's way better to do something wrong than to not do something at all. Yeah.
For Jupe and Juice, I'd just say that we feel super supported, right? And empowered and enabled by them, right? So for me, it's like I just have gratitude because I've never worked with such friendly people and such helpful people. So, you know, all I can say is thank you and like may it continue for as long as possible. So yeah, it's been a great experience. And it's just crazy I think to myself, why don't more people do this? Why don't more people have this chance?
Yeah.
Like it's something it's so good that I just think, why doesn't everyone do it? Obviously it's not possible, but I would urge people and encourage people, get involved because you won't regret it. You will enjoy it a lot.
Yeah. I think like the comms with the team, well, we have Cash basically on our team, yeah, so you would think like they're much better. They're not. Actually, they're not. But we are also in Web 3, so it's not Web 2. If something changes quick or if you have to be autonomous, I think that's where we are and that's what we have to do. We do have, of course, always enough like updates to ship stuff, but also we as a work group sometimes, we get the updates at the same time that the community sometimes gets the updates. So we have the notifications on for main account too, or for all of the other work groups, because everybody's working on different stuff. There is not really a meeting with everyone every time, which is also super inefficient, just like having meetings and meetings and meetings, because we have enough work. There's like an unlimited amount of work that needs to be done. If there's something that the team wants to let us know, they will. And if not, we're just continuing our stuff. Like, I think that's how it works. And like Kimo said, if there's some changes sometimes, or like you worked on something and you have to scrape that because plans change, don't be mad. Like, just continue to create stuff. For me, it's not feeling like work anymore. Like, today I sleep 3 hours. I don't give a fuck. I feel super great.
Ready to go.
So this is not a normal job anymore. Like, that's actually fun. Like, yeah. So if you work more, I don't know, not work anymore. Like, if you grind hard and you like what you're doing. So yeah.
Cool. Any last words before we round out this session?
Do shit and we'll support you.
Yeah.
That's it.
J for J.
Yeah.
Woo!
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.